Good morning, everyone, and I hope everyone is doing well. So it's 11 a.m. now, and I think we should begin. So, by the way, before starting, I would like to introduce who we are and what we do. So, we are Curious Catalyst, and we build smarter, inclusive, and future ready teams through a high impact trainings in POSH, DEI, AI skills, and soft skills. We have a strong focus on quality engagement and practical outcomes. We help organizations transform learning into long term competitive advantage. And now, in this session, Leading the AI Revolution, we will learn how AI is reshaping the way businesses operate and how leaders can practically begin their AI journey. Instead of focusing on technical complexities, we'll unpack a simple action oriented AI playbook. You'll understand the key steps of AI transformation and how to choose the right pilot projects that and what it takes to build strong internal AI and data capability. We'll also explore how to upskill teams in a structured way, create an AI strategy that aligns with business goals, and improve communication and adoption across the organizations. So AI becomes a part of everyday decision making. Okay, then questions will be taken up. So let's be an interactive audience and put up your questions in the chat box. And one thing I would like to mention is that this session is being recorded, and you will get the handout of the session and the link for the YouTube recording in the WhatsApp group. The link will be provided. Okay, and kindly join the group for more updates. Okay, a small introduction about our trainer, Ankit. Ankit is an AI strategy and business intelligence consultant who helps organizations turn complex data and emerging technologies into clear, revenue focused solutions. With more than 7 years of experience across analytics, BI implementation, and AI workflow automation, he has worked with Fortune 500 companies, mid market enterprises, and startups. Ankit blends deep technical expertise and human centered communication to help organizations adopt AI with clarity and assurance. He is also the president of AI Articulators, a global AI focused community based in California, USA, and also the founder of Bavdhan Toastmasters Club. So, with this, let's begin. And over to you, Ankit.
Hello, good morning, everyone. It is Sunday morning, and we have all gathered today to learn about leading the AI revolution, the steps to build an AI ready organization. It is December 2025, and we are wrapping up a year where AI stopped being a novelty and become an operational reality. But as we look ahead to 2026, the market is clearly split. Some organizations have pilots stuck in limbo, and others are scaling AI agents that are fundamentally reshaping their P&L. Today, I am going to walk you through a specific playbook heavily influenced by frameworks of AI pioneers like Andrew Ng to help you build an AI ready organization. This is about moving from random acts of digital to a structured and strategic transformation. Welcome everyone. I am Ankit, and over next few minutes I am going to share a proven framework for AI transformation that has been successfully implemented by hundreds of companies worldwide. This is not a theory. This is the battle tested framework, the same approach used by companies like Google, Baidu, and many organizations across every industry. After the session, you will have a clear, actionable roadmap that you can start implementing within the next few days. But before we dive in, I would like to know how is your organization's AI progress in 2025? Was it fast, slow, chaotic, or non existent? You can simply reply in the chat box. Okay, I can see responses coming. Okay, the answer is mixed. Somewhere it's fast, somewhere it's slow, somewhere it's chaotic. Awesome. So, right now, I want to understand what is the biggest AI challenge that you are facing. So, the answers can be very different depending on the organizations you're working on. Some of you may not know where to start. Somewhere it can be a lack of strategy and roadmap. The AI talent is real scarcity today. It can be poor data quality or executive team is not supporting or the AI pilots filled in. So what if you can see my screen? So what are the biggest AI challenges that you're facing today? You can simply answer A, B, C, D. That is also fine. For some of you, it can be just one challenge or multiple challenges. So, so okay, don't know where to start. Poor data quality or data access, very common challenge. I hope my question is clear. You can simply type it in the chat box. Don't know where to start. Okay, Amogha.
Okay, Ankit, can we ask you a question or do we park it for the end of the session?
We can cover it at the end of the session.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because the question right now you have may be covered in the upcoming slides. So awesome. So the most common question I can see, or the most common challenge that I can see, is do not know where to start, right? And in the upcoming slide, that surely will be answered. So now let us first understand, where does your organization fit in? So there are three types of AI companies. The first one is AI enabled company. So what does AI enabled company mean? So they are using AI tools, but in an isolated pocket. Maybe your marketing team uses Chat GPT, or you have deployed a customer service chatbot. These are valuable but disconnected, and most companies are here today. The second type of company is AI transformed company. So they have integrated AI across their operations. Finance uses AI for forecasting, operations uses it for optimization, sales uses it for lead sourcing. The systems talk to each other, and this is where most of you want to be. And the third type of company is AI first company. Their entire business model is built on AI. Think Google search or Tesla's autopilot. They are all using AI as the backbone of their entire company. Unless you are building an AI product, you don't need to be here as an into AI first company. You can the goal for you is from AI enabled to an AI transformed company. For most of you, this has to be a sweet spot. Now, I want to understand which bucket you are into today out of these three: AI enabled, AI transformed, or AI first. You can use the chat box to answer this. Okay, I can see AI enabled as the most common answer, and all of us we want to become an AI transformed company from AI enabled company, right? Awesome. I really appreciate you guys responding to my questions. Let us keep the momentum going till the end of the slide. Now, this slide over here, it explains why you're feeling that friction. We can call this as a Gen AI divide. Look at the numbers. 78% of organizations are using AI. That sounds like success, right? The adoption is high, but look at the right side. Only 6% are high performance. The companies attributing to more than 5% of that of their EBIT to AI. And there is a massive gap between playing with AI and getting paid by AI. And that gap is called as pilot purgatory. And 30% of the projects die there. Our goal today is to get you into that 6% in which instead of you paying AI, you should be getting paid by AI. Now, what next? Let us look at this case study first. Like why AI, you know, when AI, okay, uh, how
Kindly mute yourself.
so there are some cases where AI pilots fail. So sometimes it is not a lack of budget, but it's a lack of governance. So take this famous example from Amazon. They built an AI to automate hiring, and the goal was noble to eliminate human bias. The result, AI learned to penalize resumes. The word like women's, like or women's chess club, they uh, it the it eliminated the uh, it discriminated based on the gender. Why this happened? It is because the data was trained on 10 years of resume. Mostly it was men, and it was penalized on the resumes containing words women. Now, the lesson here is AI is not a magic, it is a mirror. If your data is biased, your AI will also be biased, right? And you cannot buy an AI solution and ignore the data reality. So think about your own company's data. If you fed last 5 years of hiring data into the model, would you trust the result? You can keep this question uh, in the parking and you can answer this later. Now, so how we avoid this step and we use a structured approach. So this is 5-step framework. Uh, so what are these 5 steps? The first one is the executing pilot projects. So we start with the pilot projects, not with the strategy at the first. And most companies want you to spend, your 6 months creating the perfect AI strategy, but that is backwards. You need to learn what works in your organization with your data and then formalize your strategy. Think of it like learning to dive. You don't create 50-page strategy document. You just get into the car in the parking lot and practice. Then once you understand how driving works, you can plan your road trips accordingly. Now, does your organization have a formal AI strategy document right now? Okay, the question is in the chat box. You can simply answer yes or no. most of the organizations do not have this formal AI strategy document. That is fine. So let us start with the step one, which is executing pilot project. Now, this is where you should spend your next 3 to 12 months, depending on the size of your organization. And your first AI projects should be chosen for success, not for impact. Let me say that again. Choose a project where you are 80% confident that you can deliver value within next 6 months. Even if the ROI is modest, that is fine. Now, why I am saying this? Because success breeds success. When you prove AI works, even on a small scale, there are three things that happen. The first one, you get more budget. CFOs love funding things that already show ROI. Second, other teams come to you, like finance automated their reports. Can you do that for us? You create internal demand. And the third, you can learn. You discover that your data isn't as clean as you thought. You realize that your teams need more training than you expected. And you figure out what vendors are good and which oversell. And all of this learning happens in a low risk environment because your pilot is small and it is not critical. The worst thing that can happen over here is your you pick your most complex, most important business process as your first AI project, but that is far from the failure that can happen at the later stage. So what you have to do is you have to start small, learn fast, and then scale. So what makes this pilot successful? There are certain criteria for that, of course. So the first criteria is, can you deliver a measurable result within next 3 to 6 months? Your first AI project must move fast. If your pilot takes 18 to 24 months, you will lose the momentum. You will lose sponsorship and likely fail before showing the value. The ideal range is 3 to 6 months, maximum for 12 months. If the problem feels too big, break it down. Don't automate all of the customer service. Automate one question type. You don't need to forecast all the SKUs. Start with maybe your top 10 products. Or you do not need to digitize the full supply chain. Pick a single workflow and then start. This speed creates credibility, and credibility unlocks the budget. The next is technical feasibility. Is this something AI can actually solve with the data you already have? This is where many pilots collapse. Ask yourself, has someone in the world solved a similar problem before? If yes, it's a good sign. Is this a proven AI territory? For example, predicting customer churn. Yes, it has been done. Predicting the stock market. Historically, no. The most important thing over here is, do you have the data today? Not next quarter, not next year, today. And if you want to predict equipment failures, but you have never logged equipment data, you simply cannot start there. Instead, pick something where data already exists in a usable form. Now, this is one filter, data readiness, and it kills 70% of the bad pilot ideas. And the third one is clear business objective. Is this the goal which you are aiming for? Whether it is measurable in numbers, not just in buzzwords. This is the most common failure point. Improve customer experience is not a pilot. Reduce churn by 15% is one. You can use AI in customer services, but it is vague. What you have to aim for, reducing the average ticket response time from, let's say, 24 hours to 6 hours using AI powered routing. This is the pilot you can think of. Now, can you explain this project and its business value in 2 sentences to your CFO or your grandmother? If it is not, then it's too vague or too complicated for your first AI project. You have to keep in mind that in the first AI project or the pilot, simplicity wins. Now you have these 3 filters: quick value, feasibility, and objective. Now let me show you some of the pilots that worked. But before going ahead, I want you to rate your current top AI projects on data readiness from the scale 1 to 10. 10 means the data is clean and available in CSV or database right now. 1 means none of this. It needs a lot of cleaning. The question is in the chat box. I hope my question is clear and everyone is awake, not asleep. So I can see most common answer as to means data is not yet ready for the transparent industries. For example, this is a manufacturing company which implemented AI-powered quality inspection, and it resulted into 30% defect reduction. Now, does that mean that the company has implemented it at the same time across all the lines? No. It
Recording has
started
stopped.
small with one.
Yeah, उसने बोला ना recording. I'm not listening.
Yeah. Are we good to go? So it did not start at one time across all the lines, one line at a time, and then it scaled. The other one is the retail e-commerce company that built a recommendation engine, but only for their top 100 SKUs, not their one you think in the organization is most ready for this kind of pilot. It can be operations, finance, sales and marketing, HR, or product. The question in the chat box: where do you think the pilot can be executed first in the organization? I can see HR is the most common answer, which is ready for the transformation, which also makes sense because the data mostly which HR has, most of the time it is in structured format. So which means, let's say if there are resumes and resume screening is required, so resumes are mostly in structured, they are not in a messy format. So of course the data quality in the HR department is better. Or even if we are talking about the payroll data, it is also in the structured format. So probably that is one of the reasons why HR can be the most HR can be ready for the for pilot than other departments. Awesome. Now we can do a small activity over here. So how we can think about pilot in your organizations? You have to think about one process that takes a lot of time and is repetitive, and you wish you could it could be automated or it could have been better. So you may think for a few seconds and then type in the chat box. It can be anything. Your team spending, let's say, 10 hours a week on a data entry, or customer service answering the same question over again and again. It can be manual forecasting in Excel that takes 2 days every month, or reviewing documents for compliance. Anything that feels tedious and repetitive, you can go ahead and put it in the chat box. So I'll just you can see on the screen that there are examples which can help you to understand where you can start in the organization. Okay, I can see employee annual performance report. Okay, data entry from networking events. This is okay. I hope my question is clear. I'm giving more examples in the chat box. You can select any one of them. So we want to identify your pilot for your organization. So you have to select uh, any process that you feel takes a lot of time. It is repetitive and you wish it could be automated. I hope I'm audible and the question is clear. No.
Yes, you're audible. The question is also clear.
Okay. Engagement
I,
strat.
I, I think most issues are Excel and the data entry. It's a
Correct.
real pain, yeah. In fact, even when we have taken a survey, we have found that most people want to automate the Excel and कोई वो entry automatic हो जाए तो क्या मजा है.
Correct, correct. So of course that is one of the pilot which can be started with, and data entry is a tedious work, and if it can be automated, of course it can do wonders in the organization.
True.
Awesome. So now let us think about the next step. We have just covered one step till now, which was about the pilot. But now, what is the next step? So it is, of course, about building the own team in the organization. So there are, of course, there are external AI vendors and consultant which can who can help you to get quick wins in the long term success. Uh, but in the long term, what you need is to have your own in-house AI team. External partners are, of course, there to create your own momentum, but an internal team can create competitive advantage. And because the expertise, data flows, and IP stays in your organization, it is important to have an internal team. For this to work, you need to have a strong C-suite sponsorship. Think back to the early internet era when companies that hired CIOs and created centralized digital strategy, which outperformed those that ran scattered. The same pattern is repeating today in the AI. Organizations are running isolated pilot in marketing, operations, or analytics, which often struggle to scale because no one is orchestrating this transformation. A centralized AI team, which can be under CTO, CIO, or even a dedicated chief AI officer, this becomes the engine which drives consistent value. This unit is responsible for building credibility, capability across the company, and it delivers cross-functional projects, setting hiring and talent standards and creating shared platform like unified data warehouse. Let me give you an example. Just imagine a retail company where marketing uses one vendor for personalization, operations build a separate forecasting model, and finance experiments with its own analytic tool. None of these systems talk to each other. But once company forms a centralized AI team, they create a shared data platforms, build they build a uniform demand forecasting models and deploy it across all the division. Suddenly, marketing, supply chain, and finance they operate with the same insights. It also helps organization to improve profitability together, something no individual pilot could achieve alone. Because the top AI talent is scarce, company will struggle to hire unicorn candidates. And all of us are aware that the race of hiring top AI talent is going in the industry. So the smartest organization, they combine selective hiring with training their existing workflows, creating internal talent pipeline instead of relying purely on the external market. Now, how you can, go ahead and make everyone aware of AI. You don't, first of all, you have to understand that you don't need to teach everyone the same thing. Different roles need different level of AI understanding, or your organization might stall. The reality is no company today has enough in-house AI talent. And probably that is the reason why we are having this webinar today. Hiring expert is hard, and the salaries that you see in the news are often outliers. The good news is that thanks to MOOCs, ebooks, or online platforms, it has never been easier or more affordable to train large number of employees. But here's where most companies go wrong. They overtrain the engineers and undertrain the manager, and that has to flip. Let me break this down into three tiers, which you actually need. You can see those tiers uh, on the screen. So the first is for everyone, which is AI awareness. Now, this is your broadest layer. Everyone in the company needs basic understanding of AI. Think of this as, a lunch and learn level. They should know what is generative AI, what can it do, what are the safe and unsafe data practices. This prepares employees for new workflow AI will bring. Then the next tier is for managers. It is for creating AI fluency. And this is the most critical group and the most overload. Managers need AI fluency, not coding skills. They should know, how do I spot a good case? How do I lead a team that uses AI Copilot? What data do I need? How do I measure success? If managers do not understand AI workflows, even the best engineer might fail. So this is why it is recommended at least 12 hours of structured training for division of leaders. Then the third one is, of course, experts. So these are your engineers, data scientists, or technical specialists. They need deep hands-on training, often 100 plus hours, and which includes machine learning, data engineering, model deployment, the best practices in AI workflow. This is where the flipped classroom shine. You combine online content with focused workshop from internal or external experts. Now, why this tiered approach work? Number one is, of course, AI will reshape almost every job. And by tailoring training for each role, you make sure that everyone understands the basic. Manager can drive real use cases. Engineers can build technically sound systems. And this structure creates AI literacy across the organization. And I think that this is the need of an hour. If I have to give you an example, just imagine a bank rolling out AI for document verification. Employees learn how to use new tool and what data is safe to upload. Managers learn how to choose which document type to automate first and how to measure processing the time improvement. Engineers learn how to fine tune the model on past customer documents, ensuring accuracy and compliance. Together, they deliver a real use case that scales. Now, I want to understand from what you have seen on the screen, which group you think in the organization needs the most AI training right now, whether it is employees, managers, or engineers. You can post that in the chat box. Tier one managers. Okay, I'm expecting more responses. Employees and managers. So, so I have seen organizations organizing random trainings for their employees, but the approach has to be tiered. So while uh, most of the organizations are aware of AI, but what actually happens is happening is some maybe a tier one or tier someone from tier one or tier two come across some random article or blog post and they push their teams to create that solution for the organization, irrespective of whether the team is trained or not. But if everyone is made aware of the technology first and then there's running pilots in the organization takes place, it makes the most sense and the results of getting success in the pilot itself increases, right? So providing training is the most crucial for all the organization. Of course, with the tiered approach, your CXOs do not need to know what actually a data scientist is going to do or how it can be implemented, which are the what are the architectures that are going to be that are going to be implemented. It has to be different for different tiers, and having structured approach in training definitely works. Now, let us move on to the next step, which is an AI strategy. Now, after you have the momentum, a team, and basic literacy, do you build the strategy? Most companies try to start here and fail. Now, you cannot design a meaningful AI strategy without first doing steps one, two, and three. You need real experience, real data lessons, and real internal confidence first. The core of modern AI strategy is the AI virtuous cycle, also known as the flywheel. So, traditional software depreciates over time, but AI system appreciate. Yeah, you have to understand that they get better when they are used the most. You can think about let's say a chat GPT when it was introduced 3 or 4 years back and how it was performing and now how it is performing. Why the performance has improved over the time is of course because of the data that we have fed to the system, the models which got trained because of the data, and that is why we are experiencing better performance. So this looks like this. If you can see this on the screen, uh, better product with in, uh, with better product and more users, you get more data, and with more data, your model improves, and with better model, your product improves. So this is the virtuous cycle of AI, which you have to consider when you are building an AI solution. And if you are not building in this loop, you are not building a moat. You are simply renting intelligence from vendors. Uh, so a real AI strategy does not start with which model should I buy. It starts with what unique data can we accumulate that will make our model better than everyone else. Right. So this is how companies like Google, Baidu, or Bing built an unbreakable competitive advantage. Every search query, every click, every correction fed in the system. More users created more data, and more data created better result. And better models have attracted more users. A AI flywheel competitor could not catch up with because of this, right? So you have to consider that this virtuous cycle of AI has to be considered while building your AI strategy. Now, how to build a defensible AI modes. So here are some pillars of modern AI strategy. So build difficult AI asset aligned to a current strategy. So as Michael Porter would say, like create multiple hard to replicate capability that reinforces each other. So the more aligned these assets are, the harder your competitors must work to replicate them. Now you have to consider one thing, or you have to understand one thing, that the model that you are going to use, let's say if you use model by OpenAI or Gemini, this access, everyone is going to have the access because that is the commodity. What is the real game changer over here is, of course, the data that you have. So you have to identify based on this data how you can build better AI solution. Now, if you have to think from the product that you have today, whether it can be made better with including AI solutions into it, and which can get smarter over the period of time. So that is something that you have to consider. So this was about fourth step, which was about developing strategy. Now the fifth and the last stage is, of course, communicating clearly. So let me tell you something that most AI leaders learn the hard way. You can build the most powerful model in the world, as I mentioned. You can buy the best tool or hire the smartest engineers and run fanciest pilot. But if your culture rejects it, if your people do not trust it, the project dies quietly in folder named phase 2. AI transformation is not a technology problem. It is a people story about 10% tech and 90% human emotions. And at the center of that emotion is fear. I once spoke to an employee who whispered, "Sir, if AI learns everything, what will happen to us?" And she wasn't resisting the tool, she was afraid of becoming irrelevant. And this fear exists everywhere, in operations, in finance, in customer service, even in leadership. Now, here's the truth: if you don't control the narrative, the fear will control your transformation. So, you have to tell a different story here, a clear and true story. AI replaces tasks, not jobs. It takes away the boring, repetitive work so that people can do the real, meaningful work they were hired for. And if you have to show it, you have to show it, not just say it. How you can do this is, of course, by having hosting town hall where employees see live demos. You can send newsletters celebrating the analysts, let's say, who used AI to save 5 hours a week. not just engineers who built a model, but also everyday hero who benefited from it. The stories like that spread and they travel across the cubicles and WhatsApp group. And slowly, fear turns into curiosity, and curiosity turns into confidence. So it's not just for employees, every group needs their own story. Investors want to understand how AI will reshape your margins and create new modes. Regulator want to understand, want assurance that if AI is safe and responsible. Customers want to know how AI makes their experience better, not riskier. Potential hires uh, might want to see that your company is not just a wait and watch, but a place where AI actually happens. So communication is not just an add-on, it is an infrastructure which comes with AI. And it is what turns AI from a tool into movement inside your organization. And because AI succeeds when people believe in it, and AI fails when people fear it. Now, on a scale, let's say on 1 to 10, how high is the fear factor around in your organization? You can simply put it in the chat box. I hope everyone is there with me. The simple question: how high is the fear factor in the organization? So, so I think the fear is relatively on the higher side in the organization, right? When it comes to AI, whether it will take away the jobs and how to navigate through the situation. So as I mentioned, like the narrative has to be set depending on the team, and it has to be the expectation needs to be set clearly. Now let us look at how it looks, how the success, how AI projects being succeeded looks at a large scale. So this is an example from Siemens, which used AI for gas turbines. They didn't start with global transformation. First of all, you have to understand that they started with predictive maintenance on one turbine model, where AI predicts failures 2 weeks early, and the result is, of course, the less downtime and millions of dollars saved because of that. But crucially, they turned this internal capability into product called MindSphere, generating new revenue, and they went from cost center to profit center. So this is how the successful AI project looks like. Of course, it differs from organization to organization and from, of course, the project that you are building, right? So just to recap what we have learned about the 5 steps. The first one was executing pilot, then building team, then training your team. Of course, training, some part can come initially as well when it comes to training the tier 1 or tier 2 employees. Tier 3 can wait till the internal pilot is executed and the team is built. Then comes, of course, the strategy based on what you have learned in first three steps. And the fifth one is, of course, communication, which is the ongoing process. So, what action that you are going to take this week is, of course, the action plan will be shared uh, in the chat box shortly, and you have to identify one pilot opportunity in the organization. So you have to understand that you know the more structured approach you take, the probability of your AI project is getting success will increase. So that was about the roadmap for how you can create a AI ready organizations. I hope what I shared was clear and will be useful for creating AI ready organization. I'm opening the floor for next few minutes for question and answer.
Hello, sir. This is Dr. Swati. Actually, I'm working as an assistant professor, right? So, when I'm dealing with a course like training and development, and in it, how we go for dealing with AI in training and development course, right? So, what can be the realistic examples of adaptive learning platforms of different companies we can show as an example for students, like a real AI chatbot, for example. So, can you please give me some examples, realistic, which we can make our students to know?
Okay. So there is an interesting thing. So right now, since you are looking for, developing a platform or looking for a platform which can help your students for learning into AI. So instead of building an existing tool, there are a lot of AI tools which are available online, which you can leverage to fulfill what your requirements are. So there is there is a website called There Is an AI. For that, you can go to that website and check, give it your specific requirements and see if existing tool is there, because building a tool from scratch may be an expensive approach over here. But if there is an existing tool, you can surely leverage that. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions?
Thanks, Ankit, for the tip. I'll be checking out this website very soon. There's an AI for that, is it?
Yeah,
Okay. I think that will reduce our pain also considerably.
correct. Because there are a lot of AI tools, and
Uh,
those the LinkedIn is flooded with 50 plus AI tools. The other day I was talking to someone, and he said, I want to implement AI in my organization. So what are these tools that I should learn from out of this 50? I said, no, you need framework. You don't need tools to learn it.
He'll go crazy with those 50 tools.
Correct, correct.
And many times people don't understand how it is going to impact their own life and their own work. But then, as you said, FOMO and the fear is a very important factor.
Correct, correct. So, as I mentioned, like in the step three of the framework, the training. So people just think, right? I mean, these days, what I have seen, that if they're using Chat GPT or Claude in their day-to-day work, they are good with AI and they know everything about AI. But that is not the case. There's a lot that needs to be understood, right? So we have to start with the basics and then understand which role needs which part of the tool, right?
Absolutely. And by the way, to everybody, I would like to tell you that there are a number of links at the start of the chat. Vartika, if you could just post them again. We have a YouTube channel wherein you will find a lot of answers to your questions, because there are so many sessions for each requirement. Yeah, and this is the upcoming session which is going to come up by Mr. Ameya Katkar, branding with AI. He is the founder and CEO of OP Solutions. And Amey, I am waiting with bated breath for this, because this is so useful for us. So really looking forward.
I can see one hand, someone has raised hand.
Surya has raised a hand
Yes,
here.
yes, it's me. Could you please type that website's name that you just mentioned? I didn't get it. Is there an AI tool? That is the name of the website?
Yeah, I'll share that.
Please, could you type it? Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Do we have any more questions?
Ankit, you could stop the share, and then
Yeah.
it'll be a little easier, I think, for everybody. Questions, please. I think, Ankit, today's session was a mind opener for me too, because we do have these AI trainings, yeah, and you made it very clear for us whom we should be targeting. Yeah, tools, trainings, the target audience, The
Correct.
framework, yeah, it was just amazing. It's going to help us also a lot. See, we are right at the thick of AI and we still need help.
I completely understand that. And of course, these frameworks, whenever we are learning, we have to think about the framework first, if it is the structured approach or not. Otherwise, it's just chaos, as some of you
Absolutely.
said earlier,
In
right?
in fact, some of them, that was me. The
Okay.
chaos was all mine. I was being honest. Yeah. So because there's so many things that I've been reading so much, and the entire team has been reading so much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but there's only so much that we can do. See, without the framework, life would be difficult.
Correct. And of course, this framework are general framework. I mean, but they can be applied across organization, irrespective of the scale of organization. However, the framework slightly changes when it comes to specific use
Hmm.
case that needs to be. But this is the generalized framework that can be a good starting point for the organization.
True, true, true. So, any more questions? I think, see, we are having this expert who can take our AI journey to another level altogether. And I would urge everyone to take advantage of the fact that we are graced with his presence today.
Someone has asked question on first or second slide. So if the question
Mm-hmm.
is still unanswered, so please you can raise your question now.
I have a question. May I ask?
Yeah.
I have asked actually in the chat box, which is an AI tool that you can recommend for a better sales strategy, which will add quick value. This is in relation to the context where you are saying, pick up a pilot, a batch where you can show the impact or the value to the organization within 3 to 6 months. So when you were explaining that slide, I put up this question, that is there a particular AI tool that salespeople could use, where we can.
So
I'm not talking for generating leads, I'm specifically asking where that inquiry can convert to revenue. Is there something,
so thank you for the question. So it totally depends on the workflow that currently you are following. Let's say if the channel from which the lead is coming, it can come from email, it can come from reference, right? And how we are taking steps to convert it. So now you can either use some predefined templates by Gen AI, of course, ChatGPT or Cloud, whatever tool you prefer, or you can have a workflow setup wherein as soon as the lead comes, the next set step of actions are taken. So for that you can build agents. So depending on what is the exact specific requirement, the solution can be designed, right? So of course, as I mentioned that in the step two, wherein you have to think about the pilots or the workflows, how you can enhance them with the help of AI.
And to take this further, Priya, you can see that there's a YouTube link and there's a session on AI for sales by Deepika Yadav. I urge you go and check it out. It's a wonderful session and you will get to know a very detailed answer to your query on that.
okay, thanks, I will. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ankit, for such an insightful session. Hope everyone is walking with a clearer understanding. And please do not forget to join the next session by Amey Katkar on branding with AI. And do not forget to join our WhatsApp group. Link has already been shared. We will keep you in loop for upcoming sessions. Also follow us on LinkedIn and have a good day ahead. Bye bye. Take care.